state and culture, they exist in a dialectic. It's not that Halak doesn't want people to misunderstand him and think that the claim here is that the state produces culture or is the only one that generates culture. No, that's not what's going on. But it has the power to organize and penetrate culture and society in a unique way. Okay, no other entity has the power to organize and penetrate culture. Just like for the sake of bureaucracy, the state allows other sorts of entities, such as the NGOs, such as the corporations, such as political parties, to have their sort of leash, right? He lets go the leash and allows them to do their work. But in determining the extent to which those entities can do their work, that is the power of the state. And ultimately, even those secondary sort of actors are doing the work of the state on its behalf. Okay, so the same is true of culture. The state gets to organize and penetrate culturally, and we've seen now how this happens. We can take the LGBTQ phenomenon as a particular example. Okay, you've got read alouds in libraries with cross-dressers and trans people and things like that. You've got certain sort of holidays and organizations within public schools, and you've got certain ceremonies and rituals enshrining these sorts of things. This is all cultural penetration by the state, or it's allowed by the state. You've got organizations such as GLAAD, or the Gay Straight Alliance. That's a big one in the United States, GSA. I remember even back when I was in high school, the Gay Straight Alliance was like one of the pioneering organizations to be allowed to form chapters in public schools in order to start pushing this certain LGBTQ narrative.
I love how in your schools, I'm being sarcastic, but this is permitted and promoted in their schools, but religion is not. So presumably you can't pray in schools. So you can have that ideology, but you can't have religion. This is a kind of a warped understanding of a nation's priorities, that one is prohibited and the other is promoted in the public schools.
100%. And that's essentially the point, is that the state gets to play referee. The state gets to decide which things are going to be recognized and which not. You want to take, recently there was somebody that was fairly local to us, but sort of outside of the Utica area, and they wanted to take their children out for Friday prayers, which is a constitutionally protected right in the United States.
Really? I didn't know.
The school, yes, it is. Like, the school is obligated to allow you to do that. You just, whatever forms you have to fill. However, there's always that sort of wiggle room, and there's always that sort of obstructionism, right, when it comes to people pursuing that right. And so this particular family, it was there was a lot of feet dragging, there was a lot of sort of tisking at the family, and every sort of thing made effort made to stigmatize the kids for missing. Like, teachers, like when they came back to school, like, keep on bringing up the fact that so-and-so and so-and-so missed school because of this, and oh, well, you missed out on that, and oh, well, you missed out on that, right? So we might have a constitutional right, but the way in which that it's embodied, or that it's practiced or lived, reflects something else entirely. And so the state gets to determine this, and it occurs in accordance to the personality of the state, which organizations or which groups it allows to penetrate the culture, and through which means, right? This is all very, very much within the state's territory. And everybody knows, it's also very well known and written about the way that the state has used culture instrumentally when it comes to PR. In the 50s, you had jazz bands touring throughout, the world to, win people over away from communism. You have hip hop that does the same thing today. The state is right there in the culture wars.
This is CIA-backed, CIA promoted jazz in Europe. This is not some conspiracy theory, although it was a conspiracy. This is well known. This is in the public domain. The secrets have been disclosed. And I'm also mindful of the collaboration. I'm not sure how that mentioned this, between the state and major corporations like Twitter. We see this in the recent disclosures that have come out on Twitter, how the FBI and other agencies have worked incredibly closely with Twitter to ensure certain political outcomes, shall we say, and certain views were not welcome to be expressed. So it's not like a corporation is separate from the state. They can unofficially be incredibly closely coordinated.